My question is, you guys are in that dream stage for 5 years. Does the bond between brothers and sisters like grow more? Or you think you are ready to get out of there because there's sibling fighting everywhere?
That's a great and very interesting question. Because I have actually been thinking about this, like if there is a degree of cognizance during the dream state. I imagine it's kind of, I mean, I keep sort of oscillating between thinking that it's complete unconsciousness, like some sort of comatose thing, and something like when he's got the Tunde blade, which is that perpetual pain. I don't know. I wonder what it is or what it looks like. So to answer your question, I don't know. But if he is cognizant in any way, there's got to be an enormous sense of desire to return. If he isn't, then he doesn't really give a shit. Because he can't really give a shit.
What do you think the future holds for him in Elijah?
What do you think the future holds for him?
I hope it'll go well.
You want it to go well? Do you like it? I kind of love I was just saying before that I love the restraint of it. It's one of the things that was sort of accidentally ended up factoring into the show kind of a lot is the sense of restriction and boundaries and unspoken intimacy. There's not enough of that in television, and I think that just because it's not being expressed doesn't mean there's actual intimacy there. Like I think we've all had versions of this where we've found people that we're attracted to and it might be mutual but you can't express it. I kind of love that we're exploring that. I would explore that for another several seasons, to be perfectly frank. But if it becomes much more, then it does. I'll just do what they tell me in the scripts because I just want to keep working. What's that? Yeah, because it's such a chore. Because she's such a dog.
I feel like Elijah is a character that we haven't seen full circle, and it's the one with the most untold story. For this season, what do you find fitting to reveal about your character? Like what side of him?
What do you mean by you think he's the least that we've revealed the least about him? Like what? Like
because he's always so restrained, like you were saying, and we've seen him like break that a little bit, but not too much.
I feel like because he's restrained,
we always know that he's gonna forgive Klaus whatever happens. So we feel like we know him. But if there was a part of him that would be different.
I see what you mean. I get what you mean. There's more mystery about Elijah, certainly. Maybe than any of the other siblings.
Definitely.
I worked hard to create that mystery. No, and I don't take it as a criticism that you say that. I think that's a high compliment you paid me, however inadvertently. I always think that people that you don't know everything about are the most interesting people. Like we don't really know anyone, People are in relationships with each other for 40, 50 years before, and find things out that are sort of diametrically opposed to whatever version of themselves they thought they were portraying to their significant other, I don't have any need for Elijah to go anywhere other than where I'm told to. I don't need to see anything from him. I like who he is. I just wish he had his balls back a little bit. Because he's a fucking butler to Klaus at the moment, and he's a way more interesting character than the way that they're representing him. He started so interestingly, and I think that they don't know what to do with that sometimes. But I mean, he was the one who led the charge to going out to New Orleans. He said, "Let's go out here. Let's do this. Let's begin with your daughter's going to represent a new hope." And Klaus said, "Kill my kid." He said, "Abort that." Is what he said. That's the dad of the show. I think that in a way, Elijah to me was he's the greater patriarch. I love Klaus's malevolence. I really do. I think it's important, but I also think that Elijah is more the leader, in my opinion. So, if anything, I would like to see that dynamic a little bit more reinstated. That we sort of listen to Elijah as sort of a bit of a military tactician, with a symbiosis of Klaus's kind of passion and malevolence, you know.
Do you believe that once the family is back together in the real world, will it be a fresh start for the siblings? More than when they were young?
Do you believe in a fresh start with these people? These people are just they're awful. Like they live in this continuum of nightmares. Like they're nightmares to each other. They don't know that they're fighting desperately to maintain this existence, which just seems to me to be entirely unpleasant. And they're not really good to each other. And the only thing that symbolizes any kind of fresh start is that child. So yeah, I guess in a sense it'd be lovely to kind of to be with this kid, but that doesn't make for particularly good drama either. Like if you had them, idyllically sort of creating a new kingdom in some sort of utopian village somewhere in North Carolina or whatever. Either we become a sitcom or we just die. It's unfortunately the nature of the show necessitates that we're always pretty miserable.